Hi everyone! We are all finished learning about the War of 1812, and that means that we'll be taking a test today. There are 4 different parts to our test today. Go ahead and open up the PDF that's attached to this assignment in Kami. The first section of our test today, you'll notice there are 15 questions that have thumbs ups and thumbs downs next to them. I am going to ask 15 different questions about 15 of our vocabulary words that we learned about in this domain. If the answer to the question that I ask is yes, you will circle or fill in the thumbs up. If the answer to the question that I ask is no, you will circle or fill in the thumbs down. There should only be one circled or filled in for each number. I will ask each question once. I'll state the vocabulary word that our question is about and ask the question once. If you need to pause before I move on to the next one, that's okay. Go ahead and pause the video until you're ready for the next question. All right, my friends, here we go. Number 1, port. Is a town or city where ships stop to unload and unload cargo called a port? Number 2, impressment. Was the British attempt to force sailors to join their navy called impressment? Number 3, merchant ships. Are merchant ships ones that are used to transport cargo? Number 4, treaty. Is a treaty an official agreement between 2 countries? Number 5, seize. When someone seizes something, are they letting it go? Number 6, navy. Is the part of the military that protects and fights on land called the navy? Seven, privateer. Is a privateer a ship or a sailor on a ship that was hired to attack and rob other ships during the War of 1812? Number 8, truce. Is a truce an agreement between sides to stop fighting? 9, surrender. When someone surrenders, does that mean that they keep fighting? Number 10, navigator. Is a navigator a person who is good at finding places? Number 11, represent. If someone represents someone, does that mean that he acts or speaks officially for them? Number 12, patience. If you show patience, does that mean that you have the ability to wait without getting upset? Number 13, looming. When something really good is about to happen, is it looming? (14) Inspired. Was Francis Scott Key inspired to write the Star-Spangled Banner during the fight at Fort McHenry? And 15, astonished. Would you be astonished by something that you see all the time? All right, my friends, go ahead when you're ready and scroll down to page number 2. This is the second part of our assessment. On page 2, this should look like this. We have 6 different people, pictures of people and their names listed on this page. We have Dolly Madison, James Madison, Andrew Jackson, Francis Scott Key, the USS Constitution, and the President's House. Next to each name, there are 2 boxes. You are going to put numbers in those boxes. I will tell you each number, and I will read a statement. My statement will be true about one of these people or places or things. So if I read a sentence and you know that that sentence describes Francis Scott Key, you'll put the number of that sentence in one of these boxes. There are 2 boxes next to each person, place, or thing. So you will have 2 sentences. I will read 2 sentences that describe Dolly Madison, 2 that describe James Madison, 2 that describe Andrew Jackson, 2 that describe Francis Scott Key, 2 that describe the USS Constitution, and 2 that describe the President's House. Don't let that confuse you. There will be 2 numbers for each person, 1 in each of these boxes. If you need to pause the video at any point or go back and listen to the sentences again at any time, that's okay. You can listen as many times as you need to. All right, let's go ahead and get started on part 2. Sentence number 1. So this is number 1. I was president during the War of 1812. Number 1. I was president during the War of 1812. Put a number 1 in whichever box is next to the person that describes. Number 2. I helped save important papers and letters from the President's house before the British came. Number 3. I wrote the national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. Number 4. I put together a ragtag army to win the Battle of New Orleans. Number 5. I was built especially for the President and his family. Number 6. The British cannonballs bounced off of my sides. Number 7. I was called Old Ironsides because I was hard to sink. Eight. I saw an enormous flag flying and knew that Baltimore had been saved. 9. I was the first person to be called the First Lady of the United States. Number 10. I did not want to go to war with Great Britain. (11) The British Army set fire to me after Dolly Madison and others had to escape. Number 12. I ordered the construction of entrenchments, or walls, around New Orleans. Alright, my friends, again, if you need to go back through and re-listen to any of those sentences, that's totally fine. Alright, my friends, our next section, go ahead and scroll down to the next page, which should look familiar because we worked on this in our review in our last lesson. We have a map with all of the places that we learned about that were important during the War of 1812. Your job is to label all of those important places. So we've got circular ones. So all of these circular ones, or ones that are on the water, are Chesapeake, New Orleans, and Lake Erie. The rectangles are going to be these three on the bottom, places on land: Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and New Orleans. What you are going to do there is a number on these circular ones. You'll put the number that matches the correct spot or the correct label. On these three on the bottom, instead of a number, it is a letter. So you will write in the rectangles the letter that corresponds to the correct label for the location. Remember, number 1, I'll read you some facts about each of these places to help you remember why they were important and hopefully where they were at on our map. Okay, ready? Number 1, Chesapeake. Number 1 is Chesapeake. Chesapeake included the coastal cities of Baltimore and Washington, D.C. Which of these circles shows where Chesapeake was at? Number 2, New Orleans. The British wanted to seize New Orleans to gain control of the Mississippi River. Where does New Orleans belong on our map? Number 3 is Lake Erie. The British planned to come from Canada to fight New York through Lake Erie. Where does Lake Erie go on our map? Remember, those first 3 will be in our circles or places on water. Our next 3 here at the bottom will be in our rectangles or places on land. Our first one, A, Washington, D.C. The British attacked the capital city, Washington, D.C. That's where they burned the president's house. B is Baltimore. The Battle of Fort McHenry was fought near Baltimore. These 2, pay attention to where those rectangles are pointing. Those little dots are where they're pointing. And number 6, New Orleans. The Battle of New Orleans took place 2 weeks after the peace treaty had been signed. Where on our map does New Orleans go? Alright, my friends, as soon as you are finished filling out your map, go ahead and turn to the next part of our assessment and the very last part of our assessment today. On this part of our assessment, there are 3 questions. 3 questions that you need to answer in complete sentences. Make sure your sentences are complete. You will get 1 point for a correct answer and 1 point for a complete sentence. So if your sentence is not complete, you will miss points even if the answer is correct. Make sure you are writing in complete sentences. Alright, only 3 questions on this part. Last one, let's do it. The first question says, what was impressment? What did that mean? What was impressment? Go ahead and pause until you are ready for question number 2. Question number 2 says, why did the British want to control New Orleans? Go ahead and pause until you are ready for question number 3. Question number 3 is, what was the most interesting thing that you learned about the War of 1812? Alright, my friends, when you are all finished with those 3 questions and everything else on your assessment is completed, all 4 parts, go ahead and turn that one in, and I will see you next time.